Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we are doing the what's next on Raymond Ford, the undefeated and newly crowned WBA featherweight champion of the world, following his career best win and come from behind 12th round TKO of Otabek Kholmatov as they fought in the ESPN main event on Saturday, March 2nd. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So this fight was interesting because, you know, well, it was a really good fight, first off. These two guys are going back and forth. Ford, more of the boxer, just broke down Kholmatov, who was winning the fight, you know, for the most part, but Ford just kept chipping away and chipping away and chipping away, and then he finally was able to hurt Kholmatov in the late rounds, and especially in that 12th round, he stopped him with only 7 seconds left. The fight was waved off, and Ray Ford captured the world title. But now the big question is, what's next for Raymond Ford following that win? And it's gonna be interesting to see what he decides to do, because he said afterwards that making the weight for 126 was really tough, you know, and he might be moving to 130. But then Eddie Hearn had come out and said that he would like to match up Ray Ford against Nick Ball if Nick Ball was to beat Ray Vargas on the March 8th DAZN pay-per-view card and capture the WBC title. And both sides seemed interested in that, but then the fight ended in a draw between Nick Ball and Ray Vargas. So now it's kind of up in the air. We're gonna run through the top 10 and see, run through my top 10 from the beginning of the year and see what the possibilities are. But Ray Ford should not be in mandatory mode anymore because he captured the title. But sometimes the WBA orders, sometimes these governing bodies will order a vacant title fight, and then the first defense has to be a mandatory because the title was vacant. That's just a new thing that I started to realize that they do. They're doing that actually, they do that in the IBF sometimes. So it's really up to the organization itself. But we're going to run through my top 10 and see what possibly could be coming up for Raymond Ford. We start with IBF champion Luis Alberto Lopez. I don't see this one going down because Lopez is with Top Rank, and Bob Arum has better options within Top Rank to match Lopez up against, and I don't think he'd want to risk it against the guy who's about to move up in weight and is also with a different promotion, like Ray Ford, who's with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn and DAZN. Then, Lee Wood is moving up to 130, so we take him out of the equation. Then you got Brandon Figueroa, another guy who's with a different governing body. A different promotion. He's with the PBC. So, it'd be a good matchup, but I don't think Eddie Hearn could get Figueroa to come over and fight. Plus, Figueroa might still be in line for the WBC title. We don't know how that's all shaken out, because Nick Ball was kind of, out of nowhere kind of became the mandatory challenger for Vargas and got the shot. Then you got hard-hitting Mauricio Lara, the former champion. He has officially moved up to 130 himself, so I would take him out of the equation unless Eddie Hearn was going to match it, could match Ford against him at 130, but I don't even see that being a possibility because Lara had a poor performance in his debut at 130 that ended in a draw, so I don't think he'd want to fight a guy with the skill set of Raymond Ford in his next fight. Then you got WBC champion Ray Vargas. Would love to see it if they could get it together, but I think Vargas is, Vargas could rematch Nick Ball. He could fight Brandon Figueroa. We know he's a PBC guy, but would he be lured again by the by Saudi Arabia would he be lured over to fight over there again? I mean, I don't think he'd be opposed to it, but I think Saudi Arabia might want to match him against Nick Ball in a rematch instead, or you know, or the PBC on Amazon Prime would like to match him against Brandon Figueroa. So we got to see what the scenario works out for Vargas, but I don't think him and Ray Ford have a pathway here, but you never know. Then there's Josh Warrington, the former two-time IBF champ. He seems set on moving to 130 and fighting Lee Wood next. So I think he's done with this weight class. Then you got WBO champion Rafael Espinosa. I'm not seeing this one. Espinosa is tied with Top Rank, and I think Espinosa is probably going to make a mandatory next, or there's going to be a rematch done with Robeisy Ramirez, the former champ. Then you got Robeisy Ramirez, the former champion. I think Ramirez, because he's a Top Rank guy, is going to try to stay within Top Rank and get back in line for a title shot or a rematch with Rafael Espinosa. That's what I see happening there. Then you got Nick Ball. This is a very good and intriguing matchup that would do well for DAZN. But will Ford stay at the weight for just a regular title defense against Nick Ball? He might. I mean, Eddie Hearn might be able to convince him to stay down and fight Nick Ball after the entertaining fight that Raymond Ford had and the entertaining fight that Nick Ball had against Ray Vargas. It was much more intriguing when it could be a unification bout. But again, I do think Eddie Hearn might be able to convince both guys, and maybe Saudi Arabia might tune in for this one and allow this fight to take place for a world title over there. So we'll see. You know, I definitely think it's a possibility. And then there's Joet Gonzalez, the former world title challenger. He's a Top Rank guy. I think he's going to stay within Top Rank to set up, you know, fights over there. I don't think Ray Ford would stay at 126 to fight a guy who's already fought for titles 3 times and is also with a different promotion. So I'm not seeing that. Any other guys, you know, a rematch with Otabek Kholmatov would be great. But, you know, Kholmatov, I know they were saying he may have injured himself in that fight with Ray Ford, so I'm going to lean towards the less likely on this one. Ruben, you know, other guys, it's just up in the air on what kind of matchups can be made. But Ray Ford, I do think it's about 50-50 right now. I think he could stay here and fight Nick Ball, and that's probably the only guy he might stay down for. You know, or he's going to move up to 130. That's what I see happening. So we'll see what goes down, but that's it. That's what I got. That's my what's next on Raymond Ford, the undefeated and newly crowned WBA featherweight champion of the world, following his hard-fought 12th round TKO victory, come from behind victory over Otabek Kholmatov on the I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank, on the March 2nd ESPN card. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.